Today we're going to be sorting out the parcel shelf on the Escort. As you can see, the parcel shelf did have some 6x9s in the back, and the holes for the 6x9s, well, you can judge for yourself. I have absolutely no idea what they used to cut them holes. It looks like maybe they started off with a drill and then they kind of cut around, but then here maybe they used an axe or something very crude. Same on the other side. The hole is terrible. I'm going to be putting an alloy firewall in. There's the firewall. It's going to come across the back between the turrets. So what we need to do is basically get rid of this center section here up to about this line here, because all this needs repairing here. What I'm going to do is bend the steel out from here as best I can, see what it looks like, maybe retain this original line coming across, put down here with the angle grinder just to put out, and then I'm going to have to plate the top half of this back up, because the alloy firewall only comes to this line here, comes across and down. So I'm going to tidy this section up, fit the alloy firewall, and then just see what it looks like. Here looks like I should just be able to fill it in quite nicely. We'll see what happens. Watch your space. So I've straightened the metal out here. You can see it's very badly damaged. If it focuses. But I should be able to retain this original fold across the top. So I'm going to cut across here, all the way over to here, straight down, roughly to this line here and across. Same the sides, just down with the fold, just inside, down to here somewhere. And then this section's going anyway here, so I can continue down, cut this out, and then we'll be able to plate this up. Try and make a good job of it. That's the plan. Rear firewall now for a few hours this afternoon. As you saw earlier on, I had to cut out the big holes where the 6x9s were. Since then I've cut that out. You can see everything's nice. It's not perfect. Holes are square, so we've just got to plate them up, come down to the top of where the firewall comes. I've also managed to get the plates in to give some distance to rivet the firewall too. Also off the turrets we have the plates, side plates. These are going to get welded to the turrets eventually, but they also hold the firewall in, and I'll also brace the turret against the main chassis rail there where the dampers used to fit into. That's quite a nice fit all the way down there into the bottom of the wheel well. Same on the passenger side. The angle of them has to be set up quite square so that the firewall is straight across the back. That driver side over there, sorry, passenger side, does need a little bit of fettling just to bring it in a couple of degrees to bring it perfectly straight, but as it is, it's not far off. As you can see, and the firewall goes in, fits up nicely just up there, the dip, plate. It's going to butt up nicely against the original parcel shelf, and it also fits up nicely against the plates that have gone in. So all in all, so far so good. Looks pretty good from this point as well. Happy with that. Just got to fill the holes. Also make some plates for here, fill them, get that done, and fill out the little holes. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with these breathers here. Not sure if that's wise to leave them open or plate that off. I don't know, I need to have a think about that. But yeah, so far so good. We've got this hole here where the speaker used to be. We've finished around the top of the turret. This is quite a complex area to make a panel for, because we've got the curve that comes around here. We've also got the inner mounts for the boot hinge that needs to mount to it. This line across the top isn't straight. this line is straight, just with a small kick out at the end. So if a panel were to exist for this hole, I imagine it would look something very similar to this. Let me change hands. So here it is. It's a little bit of fettling once it's in, but that's as good as it's going to get for now. We're just going to weld it in and see what happens. I've tacked it in, it fits. Just going to have to weld it in properly now, but it all fits. Happy with that. So this is the finished piece. It's all in place, you can see. Welding it was kind of tricky because it's thin steel, but it was welded in and lineaged back, so it all looks kind of smooth and integrated to the original shelf, which I'm happy with. You can also see here that I made up these small plates for the small openings there. Just kind of tacked them in initially and then welded around, lineaged it back. So this parcel shelf on this side is done. On to the next side. Okay, I've just finished knocking up the second panel for the hole where the 6x9 was. Bit tricky because the original parcel shelf curves in here. I've got the gap there, comes up, and then the whole thing kind of curves away a little bit, and as we come up here, that's the fit around here and the curve. But it's quite a nice fitting panel. It's taken a bit of time to get it that well. Contours quite nicely here. Yeah, happy with that. Just finished welding. Went quite well, didn't burn through, penetration. You can see it really, guys. It's good. Happy. As you can see, around the top, it's seamless. Joins the old parcel shelf nicely. Here's nice. Not so wow. It's nice here. Some paint on there, filler. It's fine. Here is fine. Fine. Nice. A lot of strength gone back into the shelf. And the tunnel, the firewall, should I say, not the tunnel. It's in. Can put it quite nicely there, in there. Job's a good one. Time for coffee and then the next job. Who knows what that will be. Remove the firewall. Aluminium firewall. I've got a few holes in there where I've had the Clico clamps, but I want this to be grey, so we're going to have to prime this. Before we prime it, I'm going to have to key it back and degrease it. Take this protective film off. It's been on here for quite a few years. So once I managed to get all that plastic tape off, I simply put the firewall back into position and started to mark out where I wanted the holes. Started with each corner with the 3mm hole just to put a Clico clamp through to hold it in place, and then you can see here that I just went around the circumference drilling the holes through the firewall into the original parcel shelf, just using the hammer handle just to push the panel down flat against the old parcel shelf, drilling the hole just to make sure that they all lined up. And you can see here that I'm putting the pot rivets through the holes just to make sure that all the holes do line up, because if you start drilling a lot of holes in the sheet and they're not lined up, you'll find that you do start to lose a bit of alignment, and it just makes installing the panel with the pot rivets a nightmare. So yeah, went around. You'll notice here at the bottom, it hasn't really been filmed, but on the bottom you'll see here there's a lip or a small piece of steel. It's about 2 centimeters wide, and that's kind of been welded across the bottom plinth where the dampers mount into.
this is obviously there so you can put pop rivets around the bottom of the firewall to hold it in nice and secure all the way around.
So you join me now as I'm putting the rivets in, using this funky contraption off Amazon. It's awesome. Took me a little bit of work to get it going because I've got a 4.8mm head in, and these are 4mm. So they shouldn't necessarily work, but I put the 4mm end in and it didn't work. But it's pretty simple. So as you can see here, I'm just going around the circumference of the firewall. I've already put the Tiger Seal sealant onto the back of the firewall before offering it up into the car. Just putting the rivets in one by one, going around, working slowly, just wiping off any adhesive that squashes out the sides, and hopefully I can get all these rivets in and get this job finished off. Once the rivets are in, the countersunk as well, like on the arches, so I'll just linish over the heads a little bit with the flappy paddle disc, just to make sure it's all nice and flush, and then just get over with the primer and get it ready for paint. So that's it, job done. You can see I first went over it with primer and then I applied the first coat of white paint. I think it's come out pretty nice considering the monstrous holes at the start, but that's how you fit your aluminium firewall. Thanks for watching.